Hey guys, doing something a little different today, shaking it up. This is for the UX, UI product designers out there. Anyone that has a portfolio, recruiters spend less than 5 minutes reviewing your portfolio. So getting it right is critical. So a strong portfolio could be like your ticket to a job, a client. It's easy to get lost in a sea of others right now, especially in this market. So looking to constantly improve and make you stand out is essential right now. I personally have remade mine 3 times, starting at UX Folio, wanting to finally do my own website. So I built it from scratch in Webflow. That was a possibly a huge mistake, but I learned a lot. And then I decided to try a template from Webflow and then customize it from there. And I'm still thinking to myself, I need to redo this all over again, but I don't have the time. It's just not possible right now. I always want it to be better, but that's just not the way it is. It's just how my brain is. So if your brain's like that, realize your priorities and turn that down a little bit or completely off if you can. So in this portfolio here, this is my mentee gave me permission to kind of walk through this a little bit because I think it has a really great example of a portfolio. When I first reviewed this, it was on my phone. So I think that is something also really important for you guys to do, is to always look at a portfolio like it's on a mobile device. You could do that by inspecting and doing something like this. It's not always going to be the most accurate when it's on your computer versus your actual phone, but it's just a recommendation that I think you should do because some people do look at your portfolio on their phone. Think about how many things you do on your phone. So do I need to say more? So starting out, first impressions I really had was it's clean. The header is easy to read. I like the personality, all of these little animations when you click, her logo. There's so many little things here that makes it stand out and get a good insight to who Joanna could possibly be. So staying on this front page, the landing, it is very clean. It scrolls smoothly, and images don't take forever to load, which is important. I know I was using PNGs when I was building my portfolio first, and I switched to JPEGs because the file size is less. So that's also a little frosty nugget of information that I learned myself. So some of the key features and things like that on here, obviously the header, we got our name. I'm going to throw out some questions for people to think about though. Is this the most important thing you want people to see? Luckily, I think this is great information below. So we know she's a product designer and a developer. That right there is a standout. I was reading an article the other day that someone was suggesting that designer developer combinations are going to be the way of the future just because the way of the technology climate is going and people trying to consolidate positions and streamline positions as well. So that's a scary thought that I have to start memorizing code, but I am going to be stubborn and not do that. So Joanna, good for you. I love that Joanna puts that she's a singer-songwriter by night and a storyteller and all her spaces in between. I really feel like she could be using this storyteller positioning in a lot of her things. Using that as like she's a storyteller and maybe she can craft great marketing copy or work on maybe that could be a strength in commerce or sales or things like that. So I think this could be tweaked a little bit more so we really know where she lies if she had to pick a select area that she wants to work in. And I think this intro part is important so when someone looks at this, they know their strengths are here, specifically relating to in the career field. So I guess an example would be if Joanna thinks about her ideal position, maybe she wants to do that. Maybe she's super skilled at doing e-commerce or things like that. So she can just, like I said, position her storytelling as a product designer. and then being able to develop all of that, I think that's great. I think if you want to niche down more, I would just say you're a product designer and just pick a direction. That's just a personal thing for me because I like to just have, this is my superpower, or 1 to 3 superpowers that I have. For me, mobile design, SaaS platforms, and I love strategy of product. So with that, I think the second line here too may not be as needed, because we should all be creating accessible and delightful digital experiences and things like that. And that's something that I did mention to her. I think too, like if you're giving this portfolio to someone already, they know that they're looking for, they're looking for work. So it may not be crucial to add this on here. So just simply tweaking your title and your header here to be more directed towards what exactly that you want could be helpful for an easy scan for a recruiter. So I think these projects are great as far as this interaction. It's really simple. I absolutely hate when interactions are really long or make your loading times really slow. I've seen some templates where they stack inside of each other and they could be cool, but it's just not great. The number one goal of your landing page, you should at least be able to see part of your project, at least know that you need to scroll down for more, but think about where that fold is and make it as easy as possible to do that one click to get there. So at least for here, boom, right here, this would be the first thing I click, of course. So I suggest putting that top most important project or recent project front and center. If you're going for a particular job, maybe if she was focusing on mobile design, I would put this at the top. Just a suggestion. Let's jump into this project here. I like this, the great side navigation on the side, easily to navigate. I think with this too, it's kind of confusing if I'm looking at this knowing what part of the process this could be in. So that, while it's simple, it'd still be kind of nice to have a little bit more context. So I could scan through this a little bit easier, knowing if I'm looking for specific pieces. Maybe I want to know her research methods because I want to hire her as UXR position or something like that. Little nitpicky things. Obviously take everything with a grain of salt. I don't want to feel like I'm roasting Joanna here, but I think it's just more like it just gets people to think about things that they haven't thought about when staring at your own portfolio for a while. I get lost until someone starts grilling my portfolio or giving me feedback because I'm looking at the same shit for hours. So I think this is good. Let's see. I think this deliverable is great, how it's in a mock-up of what it looks like. If you wanted to take it further, you could put it in like browser mock-up. I don't think it's necessarily 100% needed. It's just something that my mentor always told me to do, but really these look great. So this says exactly, whoops, that's an image. Anyways, this says what intern guys is or does. Timeline is good. I would say if you're not updating your portfolio frequently, it would look kind of bad. I think if you had like a portfolio that was or a project that was really old, and in this case, it doesn't really matter. I think it says your roles, collaborators, which is good to show who you've worked with. I know everybody's looking for that keyword cross-functional teams, cross-team collaboration. I know that's a job description buzzword. So in this snapshot, it's great. Intern guys is blank. So highlighting keywords, I think everybody should do in their portfolio, especially when you want to draw your recruiter's eyes to where you want them to look. What I did, this is good to show what you're actually doing in a snapshot. She even puts cross-functional team, got that keyword already, which is good. So this is what she did. I want to know what her impact was a little bit more instead of just saying minute tasks that she did. This is still a good introduction. One thing I would add is a little teaser of what the solution was up here at the top. Sometimes I'll add the hypothesis and then a little teaser of the solution, and then really go through that process below, and then at the end show the bread and butter, the meat and potatoes of what that solution is, why I did it, and wrapping it all in together. So selected work, it looks like, I know we talked about this, but she picked specific things here to showcase because she had a lot of things that she touched on while she was working on this. But one thing I did like is that she had these how might we statements here. So framing the problem basically of what they wanted to solve and how they thought about that. And one specific thing I really like is you're showing the versions, but you're also showing how you overcame a problem, which is really important. And at least this is scannable too. So I think it's great to always have a little snippet in your process of times you encountered a problem and how you overcame that, because everybody wants to know that you can jump in and not need your hand held through things, and you can think through solutions effectively and timely as well. I think one thing that this kind of, it's not, this case study right here is not necessarily what I would put in a layout. It doesn't really show, I guess, a process of a single project. So I think this is a way to do it. But typically I would do a project where I go through the entire process of how I did something. So I would pick the meatiest project I did or task within intern guys and really break that down in a detail, like simplified, concise detail. So I'm not saying that this is a wrong way to do something, but it is confusing when I want to know the process and the details of the process instead of just this simplified version. So I think, let's say if I'm a UX designer, I'm focusing on the user experience. I want to know, that's when I would want to know more of your process, how you went through things, a little bit more detail and storytelling, because storytelling is what really is going to get you your job, and doing it effectively and making sure you're always positioning yourself well as the expert within that project. And looking at her reflection, I do think this is good to always have some sort of reflection, especially as a new designer. What are things that you learned that going forward you're going to start doing? So yes, I think this could be simplified because I don't know if someone's going to read all of this. Remember when I said they take 5 minutes to do something? So at first, in those 5 minutes, they're going to see the portfolio. In this example, in Joanna's, let's go back. I would be, hey, this is actually really cool, really pretty. I think she could have a great personality. Maybe she's a good culture fit. Product designer, oh, sweet, she can do developing. Maybe we'll get her to design everything and then develop everything as well. So then we don't need a developer. That's great. We'll save money. Let's check out something, make sure that she's capable. Interesting. Intern guys. Education, ed tech space. She says she's a developer, but I don't see much about developing. Think through these problems. That's interesting. I guess I'd like to, I understand what she does and these different little tasks that she's done. I like to see how she handled them, but this is a lot to read. I just don't have time for this. We should go to the next one really quick. So I guess back to Dana mode. That's framing I'm thinking if I was a recruiter. Quickly going through these. The positioning on here makes it seem like Joanna can do a lot of different things. So she might get pulled into a lot of different things if she's hired somewhere. So I might want to think about that. I think if you're beginning, you just are going to take work as you get it. I did. So putting all this out there is not necessarily a bad thing, but it just, I want people to think more of like, what do you want to be doing and what are your goals, especially the types of positions you're going to be getting into. Do you want to be doing design and development? Do you want to just focus on design? Do you want to just focus on developing? As you grow, that needs to be updated and changed as you figure out your positioning. So not getting way too into the weeds of every project here, I think that kind of gives a good insight of positioning, what someone sees when they first land on here, how a project should be laid out more. I think you can add more details to your process a little bit while keeping it more concise and just showing your process and thinking. If you were more like graphic design, UI design, I think something like this would work well. My mentor who did graphic design for years, he gets huge contracts with like Anheuser-Busch and other people. I can't think of the whole list. And he really shows really sexy mock-ups, some brief things like this. And he finds contracts all of the time. It works for him though, but he's got almost a decade of experience, 8 years, I don't know. So just something to keep in mind, depending on the type of designer you are, you might want to tweak how your portfolio is. If I'm a product designer, I would have my process in detail because I want to show that I know product strategy well. I know how to think about the business, the user, and design. And if I'm a developer, I may be showcasing how I develop things as well. So if there's maybe a project in here that shows that, you might want to tie that in or think about that. Just food for thought. So doing a couple other quick pages here without going through every single project. I think Joanna does a great job of, again, highlighting things. These are hyperlinks. I love that. It shows who she is. She has a great personality. Even when I didn't even know this. I guess hovering over things shows her crocheting. I love these photos. Playlists, things like that. I think this is fantastic and it's unique. And I already think this, even if you didn't change anything, your portfolio is still ahead of a lot of portfolios that I've seen when I started, or even my own when I started. So I wouldn't be too hard on yourself. It's great to stand out. I think you just focus yourself more on knowing what you want, positioning yourself towards those careers that you're looking for, and then working on maybe the details of your individual case studies to shape around those goals and things that you're trying to look for. So we'll stop there. I think with that, if anybody is curious on how to write a case study or things like that, I just came out and released a template, on a storytelling template or guide on how to write a case study for a portfolio. So if anybody's curious, I'll put a link in this video in the description. It takes you to my Gumroad. I also wrote an article about it, and I will post that as well in case you guys want to read it. I know with this video it was all over the place, but I hope that people got some good insight on how a recruiter may think about your portfolio and how you can think about doing your own and things like that. So I know the portfolio is really it's not just work samples, it's storytelling and it's connection. And I think storytelling is one of the most important pieces. So it's going to be a continuous process. Every project is a chance to improve. If you don't have real world projects, it's okay. Create your own, find free groups, meet friends, make your own projects. You can make it look real. I wouldn't get too hung up on having real projects. I think it's more important just to have at least 3 in here or more. I would limit it. I wouldn't go past 5 or 6. That's a little excessive, but we all got to start somewhere. And that's the hardest part, is when you're just starting and you don't know your positioning, and it's hard to find entry-level roles. So it's super important to find those volunteer roles or things like that, or just getting experience in any way you can, no matter what, especially if you're dead set on becoming a designer, because it's not easy right now. And I think you just need to be really persistent. And that's what I did. I was stubborn and I was persistent, and somehow we made it through, and I got to the light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm still alive. So I guess I would love to hear what you guys have to say on portfolios in general, and leave a comment in the video and subscribe, and let me know if this was helpful or if I just rambled too much and you want to hear more direct or concise points or talk about things like that. If you guys want, I can do a quick review of your portfolio if you want to drop it in the comments as well. I'll try to limit it to like 5 minutes or things like that, because if this started really popping off, I couldn't do 20-minute videos all the time. But I think this is really helpful because portfolios are a huge focal point and a struggle for new designers in general. So thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. I appreciate everybody that listens to me ramble all the time. I'm so sorry you couldn't see my bald head. I know that's everybody's favorite feature about my brand, but we'll see you next time. Later, Gator.